Welcome to Fuzzybutts and Friends. You know, as much as it drives Fuzzybutts everywhere nuts, I'm Luke Robinson, your host of Fuzzybutts and Friends, your big dog, but tonight I'm your big Doge, and I'll get to that in a second. But first, I want to introduce and say hello to our co-host, Ginger Morgan, the director of the Puppy Up Foundation. Ginger, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to rest up. The last couple of weeks have been pretty busy. We've had a couple of our puppy up walks, one here in Memphis and one in Madison, Wisconsin, where it was chilly, but I'm glad that it's getting to be more spring-like weather and I can pull out my Miata and have fun with that before it gets too hot.
In that vein, I saw a picture the other day and I wanted to bring it on the screen, but I am such a noob to Zoom. I'm trying to figure out how do I share screen? How do I bring something up to look at on this? Can you give me a quick tutorial?
Oh, let me see if I can.
That's okay. You know what? We'll figure out in the background. But I saw a picture the other day of your kid. Who I call affectionately a little baby Kraken because she's a nightmare whenever I'm around her. But Kelly, I saw a picture of her on social media, in your Miata. I think it's sunny now.
Yes, she was. Yeah, I put her in the trunk of my Miata, trying to make a play off of the trunk.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I think actually you posted on social media, you actually used the word frunk, I think, but it's a Miata. And okay. I think that I'm not an expert. I think you used that word incorrectly because in a Miata, the trunk is in the back. But you know what, Ginger? We have with us here on this episode of Fuzzybutts and Friends, I think the absolute expert of what a frunk is. It's Earl Banning, the founder of Frunk Puppy. Earl, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Boy, thank you in so many ways for joining us here on Fuzzybutts and Friends. We're so very new. And you and I, this is the first time we've ever seen each other. We've only chatted via Twitter. And so this is completely a new episode, and we're in uncharted territory for Fuzzybutts and Friends because to date, we've only had people that we've known on my many travels, which I'll get to in a minute, or we've had people on that we've known through our associations. So I know so very little about you, but what I do know is that you have this wonderful organization that I came to discover on Twitter called Frunk Puppy. So that's how I want to start out with is what the heck is Frunk Puppy?
Yeah, what the heck is Frunk Puppy? So for me, the start of the story is a little dark. My wife had a basilar aneurysm hemorrhage, which if anybody knows what that is, it's really causes people to die. It was like very sudden at the gym. And, fast forward, that was in 2018. She pulled through. But during that time, I spent a lot of time in the hospital and, your family goes to sleep, other people aren't around, work goes on, but the internet is always awake. You can always find somebody to chat with. So I was doing, I just gotten a Tesla Model 3 that May, and this happened in July. And I just started to get into Twitter, but I was really, in and on it a lot in the hospital. It was during that time that, there's a lot of negativity online. And I was trying to think of ways to just bring like more levity to my feed. And I thought about having more dogs. I love dogs. I have dogs. So I thought, what is something I can do to combine that? So during that time and during my wife's recovery, I had this idea of I drive an EV and I like to spread awareness for EVs. And most of them have a frunk and a lot of them have a frunk. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny to put a dog in the front of the car and take pictures and just share them on the internet, So I started basically harassing people to do that. And nobody did it, but I did it. And then it started to catch on. This is a little tidbit a lot of people don't know is that really the catalyst that really started it was a cat. Trevor from Model 3 Owners, he put his cat in the frunk, and he had he has a huge audience. So once people saw that, even though it said Frunk Puppy and the cat, it started to catch on through the Tesla community, and then it just blew up worldwide. So it was really a crazy experience.
Let me stop you there because that I think that's a fascinating. I love that. That's how you guys got started with the kitty cat. Because we say our show is Fuzzybutts and Friends, but I'm a dog guy. I have a healthy respect for cats. But you do something which we'll get here to in a second. You have Frunk Puppy Fridays, and the other day you had a contest, and I saw a cat on there, and I thought, what the heck is a cat doing on there? But you started with the cat named Trevor.
Well, so Trevor owns the cat.
Okay. What's the cat's name?
Nutmeg. Nutmeg is the cat's name.
Nutmeg. Okay.
So Norman, my dog, was the first dog in a frunk, and then Trevor put his cat Nutmeg in the frunk, and because of his audience, a lot of people got eyeballs on this. Next thing you know, there's people putting, puppies, dogs, you name it, snakes. We've had a cow. I mean, just people have put everything in the frunk, and then they share it under the hashtag Frunk Puppy Friday. And this has been going on since 2018. And some weeks we get 40, 50 pictures from around the globe. I mean, that's what shocked me. One day I picked up my phone and there was a event in Taiwan for Tesla. And they had a bunch of dogs at the opening, a bunch of Shiba Inus. And it was very Frunk Puppy oriented. They had all these ridiculous frunk pictures. There were like 2 dogs getting married in the frunk. They were just like, it was but this is in Taiwan. I'm like, and they have all the, Frunk Puppy and all this stuff. And then of course, May Musk, Elon Musk's mom, she put her dog in the frunk. And then not too long ago, Elon put his dog in the frunk too. So it's just become a thing now, where when people think about the frunk of an EV, you'll have people asking. My favorite pick of all time, it's a random pick. Somebody was picking up their Tesla, and they took a picture of someone else who just got a Tesla, and there was a dog in a frunk, and there were people taking a picture of it. I never saw the picture. I don't know who the people were. Like, it was just so funny. It's just like, this is a thing now, And
well, let's talk about how big of a thing that you've become, though, because you have become a thing, and that's what fascinates me. We'll get to Twitter in a bit, but I'm just newly back on Twitter. And the dog community has been sort of elusive on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I found you guys because of my fascination with Tesla and Musk, and we'll get to all that in a minute. But I was amazed, Earl, at how big your organization was, but more importantly, how much stickiness you have, how much interaction. You really have the Frunk Puppy people, just a kind, generous, loving, lovable community, it seems like. And so tell us, Earl, how big is Frunk Puppy? How many members do you have? How many countries? Or how is Frunk Puppy structured?
Yeah. So Frunk Puppy, there's kind of 2 parts of Frunk Puppy. There's like the LLC, which is my business, which is pretty small. It's just me and my partner, and we try to organize things like, charity events and things like that. But honestly, most of it is very much run by the community. I have a board, quote, a board of people who they come and go, and people who just are fans, and they collect the pics each week because there's a lot of pictures. They help to get the word out about it. They help to vote because we have, imagine there'll be 50 pictures and you have to vote on the top 4. So we have to narrow it down. Which is kind of like how the cat people got in, because I have some cat people on the board, so they want the cats to win all the time. There's like arguments, but so it just continues to be very much community run, which I think is the beauty of it. Just to see people picking up and run with it. Sometimes people will just send me a DM and say, "Hey, I'm having an event. I'd like to have Frunk Puppy. Can you send some things?" And I'll send stickers and shirts and stuff for them to give away. And they'll have an EV event, and they'll be putting dogs in the frunks.
We have, it's just interesting and fascinating how similar in some ways our organizations are, because Puppy Up is the foundation I started after I lost a dog to cancer. And it was first 2 million dogs, and now it's been for some time Puppy Up. And so our mission is to try to understand why our canine companions get cancer like humans get, because humans get pretty much the same, for all the cancers that we get, that dogs get, and vice versa. And so with the exception of a couple like mast cell and hemangio, which is more like angio or similar to it. But anyway, but what's funny about that is that, so we are puppy up, but people are like, hey, always ping Ginger, who's the executive director. They're always pinging her, hey, what about cats? You guys don't like cats? Cats get cancer. And that's very true. And we love our feline companions, totally, 100%. But cats are just not as good of a model for us understanding cancer in people, and they get vastly different types of cancer. And I wouldn't say vastly, that's an overreach. But also, I think personally, and I'm sure we're going to get some hate mail and some tweets about this, but I think dogs are a great model for us as human beings. And I'm not so sure about that's true of cats. But we love cats, so I like that you get that needling too, because you are Frunk Puppy, and we do love here at Fuzzybutts and Friends. We love Fuzzybutts of all nature, even if you are a Chinese crested naked mole rat, whatever that thing is.
We have a calendar contest, and it's Cancer Can't Keep a Good Dog Down, but we have had a cat in the calendar as well. So that was very funny.
I love it that, and then that's a perfect segue to Ginger. I mean, I have my own reasons why I'm so excited to have you on this show, Earl, and Ginger does as well. And I love the fact that Frunk Puppy helps charities, because there are so many great animal charities that needs help. And so Ginger was like, oh, well, because we do our puppy up walks all around the country. The pandemic has sort of kind of cut that down considerably. But we used to have 30 or so Susan Komen style dog walks to educate people about cancer and our canine counterparts. And so I know Ginger and would love to talk to you offline about how we could sort of cross-pollinate and to work with Frunk Puppy and also Puppy Up and do some events where you guys have a footprint, because we just cannot get enough collaboration and cross-pollination in the dog community, correct? Don't you think? Yeah. Okay, good. Now, this is a perfect segue to the next thing. I had the longest list of things I want to talk than I've ever had with any guest. So I gotta run a tight ship, because Ginger promised you an hour. We promised our guests an hour, our audience an hour. So I gotta run a tight ship. So the other thing that you said about Frunk Puppy, other than being a wonderful dog organization, is that you are EV based. And so I want to talk. I would like Earl, you to talk about the rise of EV and the exciting times that we live in. And I also want to talk then after that about Tesla and what they're doing as the market disruptor in the EV world. Go ahead, please, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, one of those people who I was a long-term Prius buyer. I bought another one, because of the kind of eco-friendly nature of them. They have incredible gas mileage. They are, just great cars all around. And I think the natural progression then is to think about, okay, well, I'm using a little bit of gas. What if I didn't use any gas? So you start to shop around and think about cars and EVs. And of course, way back to EV1, they started, GM started to make the EV1, and it kind of caught on, but then it was a little too early for it, kind of controversial. They got rid of it. Then you had other cars come along like the Nissan Leaf and kind of these other ones but they're often shorter range. So you were usually giving up something to have an EV, and it would work if you were just doing kind of local commutes and stuff. And for a lot of people, that's most of driving, right? So for a lot of people, it would work. But they weren't able to proliferate, especially in the US, because people want to drive, people want to go places, they want to take long trips. And what you saw was kind of some stagnation in the market, and then also some just quality issues, batteries losing range over time, losing range in the cold, and just really couldn't catch on as like a reasonable car to have if you want to do long range. So people would have a gas car and they would also have an EV. Also back then, they were kind of, they would take like a gas car and make it into an EV. So you wouldn't get things like Frunks. You wouldn't get, I mean, it would just be your car and then they shove batteries in different places. So you didn't get fully the benefits.
The early days.
Yeah.
And I just, what I want to say is I have been, and this one while I love talking about this because I have been in the periphery observing this, but I'm not an early adopter of technology. But one thing I knew, and you just spoke to it, is that I knew the rate limiting step of the EV industry would be infrastructure, right? And so what year are you talking about right now? Because give us a chronological thing from when you started till now.
Well, I would say kind of the early, 2000s, prior to 2008, you had a lot of these smaller EVs. The Nissan Leaf, like I said, was probably the most popular one. And that really started to change with, I would say, Tesla, because they were making cars that had more range. And nowadays, it wouldn't seem like much, but you could go over 200 miles on a charge. And initially they were going to do battery swaps, which you'll see with companies like NIO right now, like they're doing battery swaps. But what they found was, what Tesla decided to do is just build their own charging network. So really from, I don't know, 2012, 2013 or so, I'm just pulling numbers off the top of my head, but kind of from there until now, you can look at the map of Tesla. They have there's a ridiculous amount of superchargers now. And then the range of the cars went up. So, but the price was really high too, because you have to put a lot of batteries in them. So luckily, over the last decade, prices for batteries have plummeted. And the amount of charging, not just with Tesla, but other networks, you have the, what's it called? Electrify America and Charge Port, or what's it called? Whatever, I don't use them, but there are other networks as well. So you can find a lot of things now.
Well, that's what I find so fascinating. So it seems like my understanding is that Tesla's inception was in 2008, and so I have been watching them for a while now and observing Musk and Musk's accomplishments, which I hope we'll have time to get to a little while later. But yes, the world of EVs it really has risen like a hockey stick. And Tesla clearly is the market leader, and Tesla is the dominant. I mean, they're dominant in every market, it seems like, but they're also the technology that they're disruptors in every category. They're Steve Jobs and Apple and iPhone. Where iPhone, there were existing phones out there on the market, in the marketplace, that had the market dominance, and iPhone it was a game changer, changed everything. And Tesla did that. And I think that's so wonderful. I think that's why I admire, that's one of the many things I admire about Musk. Is it seems like he understood where the market was going, and he had the patience to build a prototype a product that was a game changer. And it seems like he's had the discipline to, over time, get it to the marketplace, which one of the things he always tweets all the time is prototype is one thing, but production is a nightmare. And so production has been everything, and Tesla's almost been bankrupt. It seems like I read that. I don't want to seem like a Musk boy or Musk fan or whatever that, but
right person.
but I do certainly admire his accomplishments and what he's done for the EV market. Okay, so next thing, I'm not sure if that's.
Well, I have a question. So how long does it take to charge one of the batteries?
Yeah, so that's kind of a two-part question. So the first thing is that typically you're not going to drive very far each day. Most people commute to work, hopefully you don't commute to work too far, 20, 30 minutes. And then you come home and you charge in your car at night when you sleep, and it's the full quote tank every morning. So that's typically, you don't think about it at all. When you do think about it, as if you're taking a long trip. So you leave with a full charge that morning. And then the car will map you to the number of superchargers you need for how far that you're going. And you can go over 300 miles. Now, I don't know about you, but I need to eat. I need to go to the bathroom. I have kids. I have dogs. It'd be amazing if I could use the entire battery, but usually I'm not. Somebody has to stop. So you do what you can. Hopefully the car and the children all cooperate. We stop about the same time. And then it really depends on how much farther you're going and how far the next supercharger is. So you can stop anywhere between 25 to 35 minutes for a charge. Again, by the time I get the kids into the bathroom, we get some food, let the dogs out. I mean, I almost can't pull that off at the gas station sometimes. I mean, really, if you're going to stop and then you're going again. It does add a little bit of time depending on things. Like if it's really, really cold out, I drive up to Minnesota to Duluth sometimes. And so if it's really cold or if it's really far to the next charger, which doesn't happen all that often anymore, you're going to probably have to charge a little bit longer. But I scaled down. I had, I had my car since 18, and then in 20, we got my wife's Model X, and we've been, EV only since then. And it hasn't limited our lives in any way. I mean, we drive from Ohio to Duluth, Pennsylvania, down to Tennessee.
But in addition to backpacking cross country twice for a total of 4,000 miles with my Great Pyrenees, I have also driven hundreds of thousands of miles for the foundation to educate people about cancer in our canine companions.
That's
and
amazing.
so for me, so I'm not only an early adopter, Earl, but also the rate limiting step for me to acquiring a Tesla, because that's what I would buy. To me, that's the gold standard. I wouldn't buy anything else. I'm not going to buy anything else when I do. And I'm going to do that. I am going to. I believe it's the future. I know it's the future.
Yeah.
So, but the hesitation for me is I have two Great Pyrenees and I travel with my gear and everything else.
Yeah.
So there's not anything comparable to the current vehicle I have, which I think is a Sierra, whatever the biggest Toyota, but I used to have the Grand Caravan, which it just had all the bells and whistles, and traveling with dogs, that was awesome. And so so tell us, our audience, what is the biggest Tesla model that's available for pet owners right now?
Yeah, so there's probably two that people use the most for pets. The Model Y, which is kind of your crossover, smaller SUV, which has a hatch in the back. You can definitely fit some things in there. And you got to remember, as far as gear goes too, you get a spot under the back of the car because there's no exhaust. So there's a spot there. And there's also the Frunk, which in some of them are pretty big. Like my wife's Model X, the Frunk is pretty large. We used to have a Highlander and a roof rack with a box on it. And we have just as much room just with the extra space that you get because it's not a gas car. So, we think put things in the front and in the back. And we have plenty of room for the dogs and everything. But they are cost prohibitive. I mean, the large SUV is expensive. The Model Y isn't as bad, but I'm hoping over time that, and the chip shortage has impacted this too, because I think that the rate of production would be higher, not only for Tesla, but other car companies, because things are coming. But that still is a factor. Now, I think if people are looking for like a sedan sized car, at this point, the price point is there, where if you get a Model 3, the cost of ownership is lower than like a Camry, because you're not putting gas in it. It takes a fraction of the money to do that, and you don't have maintenance. You don't have mufflers going, alternators. You don't have any of that stuff. So the cost ends up being good long term.
Exactly, but you're actually a perfect test case for this. You're a great example for this, because you have your two kids, which I've just seen pictures of. You have Wilson and Norman, and they're not small kids. Right?
No, yeah, they're a good size. Yeah.
Yeah. What are their breeds?
They're Labradoodles. One's a party Labradoodle, Norman, so he's brown and white, and then Wilson's just a Labradoodle. But yeah, they're decent sized dogs. And
so what is the furthest you have gone with your kids? What's the furthest you've traveled that you can share with our audience to inspire them that, hey guys, this is a viable option for you. It's not just taking your kids to the lake, an hour away. This is where you go.
No, we take a trip from Ohio to Duluth pretty frequently. That's like I don't know how many miles that is, but 700-800 miles.
So with your
And,
kids?
Kids and dogs. Yep.
Yeah, wow.
So we got 2 kids, 2 dogs, my wife and I, and all of our stuff, and you know, no problem at all. It's a great commuter.
Well, speaking of dogs, that's a perfect segue because now on to the next topic. And this is a topic that I also am frequently, I'm just recently acquainting myself with, and that is Doge. And I got to tell you, Earl, prior to this interview and prepping for this interview, I asked Siri, what is Doge? And it came up with Doge, which is Italian for, that's basically a very powerful Italian dude from a long time ago. They no longer exist. So even Siri doesn't seem to know what Doge is and why we're now calling dogs Doge. So go ahead, please illuminate our audience. What is Doge?
Doge has been powerful for the Frunk Puppy community too, because anytime anybody puts a Shiba Inu in a Frunk, it's going to win because everybody wants to pick it. But yeah, Doge was created a long time ago by, what's his name, Billy
Marcus.
And he really made it kind of just as a joke. He made this, you know, years ago, and the darn thing stuck around because it's just such an amazing meme. Like that dog, it's just so great, and there's so many Doge memes. And it stuck around. Of course, Elon falls in love with it at some point, right? Starts tweeting about it. And so this cryptocurrency just takes off and has become a thing. And it's its own blockchain, which if you know anything about crypto, it really makes it be able to kind of stand on its own. And it's different than some of these other tokens and things that are just based off another chain like Ethereum or BSC chains. So I have to be honest that how I got into Doge was totally by accident. I was complaining to one of my friends on Twitter about paying my kids allowance, and I just always forget, and I never have cash. Like I just don't carry cash. And he's like, I pay my kids in Doge. I'm like, oh, all right. So I bought a bunch of it just to be the bank for my kids. So a couple months go by and I'm paying them, you know, couple bucks a week or whatever to do chores, and then the thing skyrockets. So it goes from like it was worth nothing, and suddenly my kids have like tons of money. They're like really rich, and I don't know what the lesson was that they learned. My wife is like, what is happening? What's going on? Like it was the most bizarre thing. So I didn't know anything about it, but
I love what you just said. It's the most bizarre thing, and Elon, I'm learning a lot, but Elon, to try to explain to people who don't know, Elon shared a video on YouTube, and I wanted to also find a way on Zoom to be able to share it. So I'm going to play it on my iPhone. And I think you've seen it before. I love it. I love it to death. But this is what Elon Musk has. If you want to understand Dogecoin, just watch this video. This is what Elon says to watch.
You can't really see it.
No, it's like washed up.
But you know this video, right?
You can't, Luke, you can't see
There
it.
it goes.
Oh, there you go.
You kind of see it. Anyway, it's a silly, so I'm not going to keep this going on for very long because it is, you can't really see it.
Yeah.
I wish that we could somehow have split screened it or something.
Yeah.
But it's a silly video that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's got basically a Shiba Inu on a rocket going up. It's actually looking at Bitcoin, and then there's some crazy memes, and then it's to the moon. And so this is the video that Elon said, if you want to understand Doge, watch this thing. And so I watched it. I'm like, yeah, that did nothing at all to illuminate what Dogecoin is to me. But I love it. I love it because to me, Earl, it speaks to the heart and the spirit of Doge, and the spirit of Doge is goodness, right?
Yeah.
And they have a motto, correct? What's their motto?
Do only good every day. Yep. You
That's
see that
what
all over Twitter. Yep.
that's what Doge means. But is Doge also, is there a way of Doge that's separate, that's universal, then separate from Dogecoin, the actual currency? Because that's the world I'm trying to understand. And I know in your response you said you're not an expert about that.
Yeah. Well, Doge, like kind of the Doge community is centered around the coin, but also around kind of just the culture and the memes that go along with it. It's just attracted some really cool accounts and cool people. Like everybody's so really chill in the Doge community. I just really enjoy them. And there is kind of this focus on like community and kindness and just being different. Like the crypto world is kind of cutthroat. It's a little harsh. So, this is my, sorry, my.
Who do you have there? Because we do actually like to have Fuzzybutts on Fuzzybutts and Friends.
This is Agabelle Batternugget. She is a
Good God, what kind of name is that? What is that name?
She came with it. She's had a rough life. She grew up on the streets of Kentucky and she has no claws. So she was just beaten up when she arrived. And now she's a happy fat cat and we kept her. She's wonderful. But
she does look a little bit big boned, as we say in the South.
Yeah, yep. We have to really ration her food.
So that's one thing that you guys do that I find is so wonderful, Earl, on Twitter is, I guess in other places, is you guys tip with Dogecoin, right?
Yeah, I know a lot of people, you can go in and kind of copy their address and tip with Doge. There's like, what is it, Tipping Tuesday? People do that with Doge, which is really great. What the community is hoping is that with Elon taking over Twitter, that maybe you'll have like a tip button for Doge. I think that's coming. You can already use it at the Tesla store, so I assume he'll integrate that in some way.
And there are also more and more businesses, I think, are adopting Dogecoin because they see the goodness. They see it's a wonderful, generous, giving community. And I'm going to use this opportunity to do a little self-serving, Earl, and I don't apologize for it. But what I will be announcing very soon in coordination with the dropping this podcast is, so Earl, I've done 2 walks for canine cancer research, and that totaling 4,000 miles. So I just lost my 3rd dog to cancer, Hudson, last September 4th to cancer as well. And so I'm just about to start walk 3, and that's going to be the entire length of the Hudson River, 300 miles with my 3-legged Pyrenees. And so we're doing a fundraiser, and it's called for Hudson's Hope. And Hudson's Hope is going for the treatment of dogs with cancer. And so we're going to create the Hudson's Hope Fund. And so the goal is we're going to do $100,000 for the Hudson's Hope over the 10 weeks for walk 3. But we're also going to do, and this is why I've been learning about the Doge community and also learning about all the things why I've been spending so much time on Twitter and learning all these things, is that we're going to be doing our fundraiser in Doge as well. So we're going to be doing, I think awesome. I think right now it's I think I looked at the current market price of Dogecoin, and I think it was 0.13 something or other, not quite 0.14. And so I think that means if we're going to raise $100,000 US dollars, then that basically means over 500,000 Doge for the Hudson's Hope Fund. So and my hope is with Earl, and you don't have to make a commitment here on the podcast, but I in sharing this, I would hope and hope that you kind of share this podcast with the Doge community and help us share it, because I know it's not going to make as much of a dent in the stock market, the price of Dogecoin, just doing a 500,000 Dogecoin fundraising for Hudson's Hope to treat dogs with cancer. But it does help, because we hope to get this walk 3. We hope to get a lot of visibility. I've been on the Today Show. I've been on Animal Planet. So we hope to get a lot of visibility. So we hope that walk 3, we know that walk 3 will bring visibility for Dogecoin and the Doge community.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll blast out whatever you have on Twitter.
Thank you.
Certainly spread the word. And about
Thank
the
you.
podcast and about your walk. It sounds awesome.
Thank you. Well, I don't mean to be so self-serving, but we're excited about Walk
Okay.
3, and it's going to be great. So, but Doge is not the only crypto that you're involved in, and this is
No.
something I know even less about, and that's
Yeah.
Floki. Tell us about Floki.
Yeah. So, what a great overlap, because well, real quick backstory, what attracted me to Floki was I got Elon to put his dog Floki in the car. So of course this spawned numerous tokens with some sort of Floki name, because that's the name of Elon's dog. And there are a whole bunch of them are created and a whole bunch of them went under. But I started to get to know the creators of this community, the Floki Vikings, they're called. And just an amazing group of people. But what got me was that they are into charity. So they are donating money for to build schools in Nigeria, and they have been funding that. You can see it online how far along the schools are. They also worked with Kimball Musk a little bit in his organization. They were paired up there, and they have such a focus on this charity piece. So that really interested me. And of course, with the name Floki, I thought that was great because it's Elon's dog. And did the same thing. I made my own bag of Floki. I'm like, I'm going to be there, and then really got to know the community. I know all of them now, and what a great group of people. And down the road someday, I think Floki's going to take off, but I'm sure they'd love to team up and do some sort of charity as well, because that's just in the heart of the whole thing.
I would love to, because I'm excited about it. But I got to start off with, I know who Loki is, obviously the Norse god of mischief, and I have having Great Pyrenees that are white, and they're not actually from Scandinavia, but they look Icelandic, and they're often called Norse gods. So you get Loki a lot. But what I don't understand, other than it's just Elon or the meme people doing plays on words, is how did it get from Loki to Floki?
Yeah, so Elon's dog's name is Floki.
Right.
Is the name of his dog. And
right, but it's Loki with an F though, correct?
Yeah, but it's I believe Floki is comes from the Viking community.
Okay.
There's a Viking float. I don't know. I'm really terrible.
But Floki was a Shiba Inu, and that's how Shiba Inu. So the Shiba Inu is the image of Doge and Floki. Is that right?
So you're talking about Shiba Inu token, or
the dog, the image. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
because if you type in Dogecoin, if you're able to see that video I showed you on YouTube, when you type in Doge, you'll see a Shiba Inu on it, right?
It's a Shiba Inu, and then Elon has a Shiba Inu named Floki.
Okay.
And then that spawned a bunch of other tokens, one of them being Floki Inu, which I've been connected with. And they have been nice enough to chuck in. So every week for Frunk Puppy Friday, we give away 1 million Floki tokens to the winner, because I want to do something. So they've been really on board with the whole.
If you were to cash out 1 million Floki, if that's even possible, what's the value of that?
Yeah, you get about $17.
Okay, I thought when I talked to Ginger, she asked me, and I was like, I don't know, $20, I guess. Yeah. So I would love to do it for just the fun of it, just to help spread, because you know what, Earl, in addition to educating people about cancer and our beloved canine companions, we're also about just sharing other wonderful animal organizations and here also here on Fuzzybutts and Friends, this is about friends of the Fuzzybutts. And so we have friends with a wonderful organization called Tripods. They have 2- and 3-legged dogs. And so there's a lot of cross-pollination that we would love to do with Fuzzybutts and Friends, and Ginger with Puppy Up Foundation, with Floki. Just if it goes anywhere, for no other reason, just to help, because we're a community. We are truly a community of dog lovers and animal lovers. And that's the bond. That's the bond that brings us together. Okay, so moving on, checking the time, we still have a lot of ground to cover. You can stop if I don't do a good job. I sometimes do skip over things, so please, Earl, if I miss something, throw a shoe at me, let me know somehow, and I'll slow down. So Doge, but there is a, so is there a Dogecoin? What is the Dogecoin Foundation?
Wait. So Doge is just kind of a blockchain with some developers that continue to work on the, the coding, and then you can mine the Doge. I don't know if Doge has a foundation. That's a good question.
Okay, I
I
had
don't
a
know.
note of that. I'll have a note of that. I'll look into it. But one of the things that I've learned, you mentioned it a second ago, and I did kind of gloss over it, and I wanted to get back to it, is you said that Doge and then Floki spawned a whole host of all of these other cryptocurrencies.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
wanted to
Yeah.
speak to the crazy world of cryptocurrency briefly to the extent you can, and then also Twitter, because
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, Earl, I'm kind of nervous about the one thing I am nervous about doing a Dogecoin and Floki raise for our foundation, the Puppy Up Foundation, is our donors, our supporters, our followers, which we have a footprint of hundreds of thousands of people through all of our social media channels. And so they're all old school. I think most of them are old
Yeah.
school. And
Yeah.
so what I want to do and what I would love your help with is how do we help them go over the S curve, right? How do we help them adopt crypto in this crazy world of Twitter? So if we can talk about that and then the crazy world
Yeah.
of Twitter.
Yeah. I've had to learn, well, after, like I said, I kind of got into Doge by accident. I had to learn a lot as well. And there's a lot of people that think that cryptocurrency is kind of a passing thing. It's going to go away. But you can see with Bitcoin, that's really not the case. You have governments taking it on. You have companies like Tesla buying billions of it.
And ETH
Um,
is legit too, it seems.
yeah, and you talk about like equality and charity and like world cryptocurrencies that can go worldwide. There's a real interest in that because there's places where you can't trust banks or that the governments are unstable in different areas, and if you have your Bitcoin and your Bitcoin keys or your Doge and your Doge wallet, like you have, that's yours, and I think that that's really great, and there's a lot of fluctuations in it because it is kind of goes up and down and it's new. But to me, everything I've learned about it is that it's here to stay in one way, shape, or form. And you want to look at ones that have been around a long time or who have strong organizations and good projects. And certainly Doge has been around for a very long time, and it has utility in that you can use it at different stores, and that it's very popular as name recognition. It's been in the top 10 cryptocurrencies for years and years. And then on the flip side of that, you really want to dig into the project, which is what I did with Floki, and that you get to know kind of the people behind it, what their goals are, what they're doing, what utility, what their direction is, and try to find good projects that way. And what are they accomplishing? So like I said, building schools in Nigeria, you can see the school that they're building. So those things. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of coins that are just, they pop up and they come and they go.
Well, I know that Doge is legit because
Yeah.
I've done some due diligence. My background is I have a BBA in finance and accounting. So I used to help early stage biotech and high tech companies. So I also so I have an understanding of all of the disruption that Elon Musk is doing in so many different spaces. So I've done my own due diligence on crypto. I've done my due diligence on Doge, and I know it's legit. And so I feel 100% comfortable with getting our foundation a wallet and a ledger, actually. I've learned that. So I'm not an expert. So we definitely would appreciate your recommendation for anybody we should have on Fuzzybutts and Friends that can help our audience understand more about the crypto aspect of Doge as an investment and how to do it. And because that's the next question I'm going to ask, or you can help us navigate, is Ginger, we're going to have, even though I'm comfortable, Ginger's going to have to ask, we're going to have to ask our donor base, hey, well, we're going to encourage them, hey, make it, because this all works. If we can get people to cross the chasm, right, and adopt Doge, then it's a win for all of us. So if you can help us understand how to help people cross that chasm and who we can bring on the show to
Yeah.
better explain to our audience that Dogecoin is legit, and it's a great community, and it's a worthwhile investment for the long term. Because Chris, I know enough about crypto that it's crazy wild, man, looking at the charts, and it's pretty much in the same place where I looked at it like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
But it's all legit though. Most of it's legit, Dogecoin. So what are your thoughts? What is our next step on how we can help our donors cross that chasm?
Yeah, I think you probably need somebody. I'm trying to just brainstorm here, like somebody pretty big in the Doge community that would have a better understanding of it from a, blockchain and utility standpoint than I would. I probably honestly have to think about that and kind of
Sure,
give you
sure.
name, but
Yeah, let us know offline, because that's the way
Okay.
this thing works. Is that because we have a pretty good donor base that's old school. I don't want to call them dinosaurs, or
Excuse
normie,
me.
boomers, or whatever mean
Yeah.
names you guys call them on Twitter. We can't do them because we only have, I don't know how big our audience is. We're new, but I certainly don't want to lose anybody. But I feel it's incumbent upon me, because I see the opportunity. I see the legitimacy of it, and I also, so I feel responsibility to help the ones that I want them to get excited about it and be a part of it and partake
Yeah.
in. So
Yeah.
anybody you can think of. Okay, so on to next, Twitter. I'm not really sure what I wanted to talk to you about Twitter, or cover with you about Twitter, other than the fact that I do want people to get more active on Twitter, because I started on Twitter basically when it began. My first walk from Austin to Boston, that was a 2,400-mile walk. That started in 2008, and I started on MySpace. I had a MySpace profile, and I
Yeah.
think Ginger, I'm not sure you remember. I think it was around, I was in New York City, and somebody turned us on to, maybe before that, turned us on to Twitter. No, it had to have been Cincinnati turned us on to Twitter, because I remember I tried to do set up a really cool event where we're going to have people that met us on the Purple People Bridge and cross over with us, but they didn't. Twitter screwed it all up, and so I never liked Twitter. I've never liked Twitter since then, and I've had kind of a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
And so, but it seems like Twitter has changed, and it is changing. And so now I'm kind of talking through and recalling why this is the segue I wanted, is it really seems like it's becoming more of a place for dog people and animal lovers.
Mhm.
And I think Elon Musk, we've talked about him, with him taking over. I'm excited for Twitter's future. And that's why I'm going to be spending more of my social media presence on Twitter as your big Doge, which is what I'm calling myself now. But Twitter is exciting now, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the platform and the time I've been on it, and I'm really excited to see what Elon has plans for it. And if I mean, you follow the guy, he doesn't screw things up. He started a space company, he started an EV company, he started drilling
There is
holes.
no accident. There is
Like,
no accident to
yeah.
how that guy got where he is at all.
He really has an eye for things, and he sees something in Twitter enough where he's willing to put his own money on it and buy this thing. He feels it's that important, and he knows software. I mean, if you drive a Tesla, the guy knows software. So I think he'll take the platform and only make it better. I think that some of the things he complains about on there, about the dumb things like edit buttons or bots that come out, like, he'll take care of that stuff. So I think he'll make it a better platform, which will just attract more people to it.
Good, because that's one thing that's great that you mentioned bots, because those crypto bots are those are scams. A lot of those are scams, and I don't want to expose. So when bringing people over onto Twitter, or however they're going to get involved in crypto, that's a big concern for us, because people are scammed on with crypto, and also NFTs as well.
I've had, and I'm not a super big account, but ever since I got really involved in crypto and talked to, Elon replies to me sometimes, I get my account cut and pasted. Somebody makes another one and they start DMing people scams, click this link and do, and it's my picture and my like everything looks just like my account, but they change like one letter or something. It aggravates me, but yeah, they'll suspend them right away, but they keep popping up.
So you just said the magic word. You and I are great on segues and transitions. You said you don't have a super big Twitter account, but you're trying to get a super big account because you have something that's new on Twitter that I have no idea what it is. You're looking for super followers. So what the heck is a super follower on Twitter, and why do you want everybody to super follow you?
So, kind of the history of my account, I do like to torture people. I had Tesla used to have a referral code. If you can get a referral, you get free stuff. And I just plastered out the advertising to get referrals, and I got a bunch. I did a pretty good job. So now Twitter started super followers. So I like to have the same marketing campaign, which is sort of irritating, but super followers are great. It's really just like, I don't know if you know Patreon, but people can support different, artists and people they like, and just, they pay a certain amount a month, and then for different levels you can get different things. But it was never integrated into Twitter. So I've been doing Twitter for a while. People really enjoy my account, but they have no way to like support me on there directly. And with super followers, you do. It's like $3 a month, and people can do that. And then there's
do you get 100% of that? Do you get 100%?
No.
How much do you get?
Twitter takes, I think I get $2 out of the 3 or so.
Oh my God.
So far I've gotten 0. I'll keep you posted, but it's a little rough, but it's something. And then you have super followers. You can send tweets that only they see and content just for them. And so I do enjoy that because one of the things that happens once you get a lot of followers is you can't really keep up with anybody. So people send you things, you don't see it. And with my super followers, I see, there's like a tab, and I can really see everything that they sent, and I can like interact with them a little bit more. And I do appreciate that part, but mostly I think it's fun. Like I enjoy like little ads to come and super follow me. Like I
gotta tell you, first of all, I thought, since never seeing you before or never talking to you before, I thought you were a lot older because you're so funny on Twitter, because you always are trying to get people to super follow you. Yeah. And you're a funny guy, and everyone treats you like you're an old dude, because everyone just is always going, oh, that's just old Earl trying to get people to super. And everyone is just ribbing you and roasting you and so I was talking to Ginger. I'm like, I don't know. I think he's an old guy. Sounds like he's an old, maybe a vet, Air Force. But the second thing is, I made you a promise to get you on Fuzzybutts and Friends. I sent you a DM. I DM'd you on Twitter, and I said, hey, if you want me to super follow you, please come on Fuzzybutts and Friends. So I'm making you a promise here today, Earl. I don't know if it's going to be tonight, but very soon I will super follow you.
Oh man,
on Twitter.
This has been even wonderful.
But now I see people make jokes is like, I don't know why the heck I'm super following Earl. So but I got to ask you, is there a quid pro quo? What do I get out of it?
Well, like I said, there's
it's not like only fans, because that would be weird.
No, it's definitely not only the main thing that people get is more information about Frunk Puppy. So each week you see the top 4, but super fans get to see every entry. So I collect them all. They get to see all of them. We do our own private vote on super followers. And then I just give a lot more, pictures and things that just go out to super followers, like hopefully better content to them. But mostly it's just a nice little community where I can, really talk to people. So if there's people who want to, chat about their dogs, they like send me Frunk Puppy pics and stuff, like I'll see all that stuff. So that's pretty great. I really enjoy it. So far, people seem to like it. And no matter how much people are grumbling, they're re-upping and doing it another month. So we'll see how it goes along the time.
But Earl, what is your name on Twitter, just for the people listening?
Yeah, so, it's at 28 delays later.
What's the nature? Gosh, thank you, Ginger. We were going to get to the social media things and how to follow you and Frunk Puppy, but what is the origin of that name? I've been meaning to ask you.
I like zombie movies, and there's a zombie movie called 28 Days Later. And when I started my account, I was waiting for my Tesla Model 3, and it was chronically delayed. So I went with 28 delays later, just kind of ribbing Tesla. And then when I got my Tesla, Elon tweeted my car like parking in my garage. And then I was stuck with that was just my name now, like he can't change it. And it just stuck, so I've kept it. And
that's awesome. I love that you're a horror fan. I want to do a horror podcast, so I got to talk to you offline about that.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's great, because one of the things I did want to talk about Elon Musk and all of his things is that I've been observing him long enough to understand the reason why he dominates Twitter, and that's memes. He truly is. They call him the meme lord, I think, and he truly is. And I've never understood, I think, how to effectively, or I've never understood, I guess, how effectively memes can take sometimes very complex social issues, very complex ideas, and just illustrate them very simply and beautifully. And I saw one recently that could explain it easily for some of our audience that don't understand memes, what memes are. And it was one about trying to plug in a USB cable into a USB port. And you got it, you do it the first time, you got it right, and it's got an X, no, and then you turn it over to the other side, and you do it again, no, so you turn it back over again, and it works, check. And you see that, and you go, man, it worked. That's exactly it. It's crazy. And so with that one simple meme, you understand, wow, the power of memes, and Elon really is the meme lord. And I, like you, I think that the super follows and having those little, you should have like a public discussion for some things, but you should be able to have different conversations with other parts of your social sphere. And I think Elon, it seems to me that Elon has the track record and to assemble the team and to figure out a way to truly grow that platform and to make it even more exciting. So I strongly encourage my audience, our audience, to go onto Twitter and follow your big Doge, which my Twitter handle is 2dogs 2,000 miles, for my original walk from Austin to Boston, which was supposed to be 2,000 miles. It ended up being 2,400 miles. And then the Puppy Up
Foundation.
You made a wrong turn. I made a couple of wrong turns.
Oh, man.
More than one wrong turn. Thank you, Ginger. And also to follow the Puppy Up Foundation. It's Puppy Up org at Puppy Up org. It should be Puppy Up. We don't have that handle for some reason. We need to get that. Hopefully Elon can solve that problem, but it's been a problem for ours. Also get us blue check mark, which Twitter has seemed to have some strange stranglehold on blue checkedness, whatever the proper term is. And that really does affect the kind of conversation that you can have with the public, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been trying every month. Like I said, my account gets scammed, turns into a scam account all the time. And I keep getting turned down, but maybe someday. All
right. Well, I think that covers kind of pretty much everything that I know. There's probably 20 or 30 more things that I want to talk about, but we try to keep it to an hour. But I want to
I do want to say something. Yeah, no, I want to get something in. So Earl, I saw something, I think it was maybe on your Twitter, about Alaska. Are you moving to Alaska?
I am moving to Alaska in about a month and a half. So with the family. Yeah.
Well, I will say this, that I was in Alaska for 2 weeks once, and the best advice I got was, you will not be at the top of the food chain.
Yeah, that is correct.
Norwell Wilson and Norman. So you got to protect them from all nature up there. Not only bears, but the moose, the male moose. So where are you moving? Where are you moving to? Anchorage. Well, Godspeed. But I do try to track you, and I will now super follow you. But I also thought I saw the tweet that you're going to have to sell your Tesla, both of them or one of them.
Yeah, I'm looking to sell one, mostly because I have to drive to Alaska, and you can't really get all the way there in an EV. You can get to northern Canada, but then there's a lot of other driving to do. And honestly, the second part is that I'm going to be there for 3 years, and I just don't want any limitations. That there's only one supercharger up there, and I want to be able to just drive and see every glacier, do everything. And I may be a little bit limited if I only have EVs. So it's heartbreaking to me. I mean, I've had my car for 4 years and it's been really great. But I feel lucky we'll still hold on to the Model X. So I'll still have a Tesla up there and do some full self-driving testing up there. But
Well,
yeah, stuff.
that right there, I want to cover that before we go, because I find that fascinating. I also follow whole Mars catalog,
Oh
a
yeah.
gentleman named Omar,
Yeah.
and what FSD is. And I
Yeah.
don't want to get too deep in this, but this also makes me excited about the future of Tesla and EVs. Very briefly, talk about what's going on with FSD and what the heck it is.
I was lucky enough to be an early beta tester in 2020. And so I was in one of the first groups to get it and be able to drive around in it. And the coverage on FSD isn't great. People like to just, make flashy videos and show everything wrong that it does. But as somebody who's been using it for going on 2 years, it's incredible the amount of progress they're making, and it is going to change the world. There is going to be full self-driving cars, and the first one to do it is going to be Tesla in a way that just works anywhere. It's amazing. I mean, I'll drive it. I take trips to rural Pennsylvania. I know nobody's been there, and I'll drive it around the old country where I grew up. And it's just navigating like it's, old hat, like it's been there a million times, and it's incredible.
One of the wonderful things that I think Omar does a great job of is discuss why Tesla is the market leader, will be the market leader, because they're using FSD as opposed to LiDAR.
Yes.
And FSD, what I love about that is it's based on AI.
Yep.
And deep learning.
Yep.
And I said I wasn't going to go deep into it, but I'm going to, because there's actually history here. Because one of the things I admire about Elon Musk is because of my background in technology. When I was a young person, I thought about the future. I thought a lot. I subscribed to that magazine called Omni a long time ago, and it was it was part sci-fi and part real sci. So I loved, and so my brother and I were big into tech and thought about that. And I always thought it would have to be LiDAR, and there would have to be the infrastructure that would have to, and I thought it would be, I'd never see it in my lifetime. But Tesla and Elon realized that, no, we can't change all the infrastructure. We have to basically have the car to understand all situations and be able to be fully autonomously navigate through any potential situation. And the only way to do that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I have a pretty good understanding. The only way to do that is make it go through so many scenarios, so many different iterations and real world experiences that it deep learns to over time, over so long, it's going to say, oh, I know that's a cat that's crossing the road, not a cow, right? Did I do a pretty good job of explaining it?
Absolutely. The reason we're able to drive, and we're kind of poor at it, but we drive just fine. We don't have the best eyes, and we don't have LiDAR, and we don't have radar, and we can't see behind us, and we have like mirrors, and we do our best. And we get tired. People drink and drive. People look at their phones, right? You don't need incredible sensors to get a car from point A to point B. What you need is something smart enough to make a decision fast enough for when things change, that the road may have been mapped perfectly, but now a tree fell down on it. When are you going to stop forever, right? No, like the car needs to know, I need to navigate around this. So that's like complex stuff, but boy, like having this, like I said, since 2020, for how smart and some of the decisions it makes now, like I used to have to correct it beforehand because I knew it was gonna, like, this is where it was gonna screw up. And now it's making decisions that I would do as if I was driving. Like it is taking turns and doing different things that it's the way I would do it. And that is just, it just makes me feel like, and the progress is only getting faster as they have more cars on. There's 100,000 people driving around with FSD right now. And they are getting better using the neural net, training it. It's coming. I mean, I don't know exactly when, but it is absolutely going to come and is going to change the world. And that's just one piece of Tesla. They're making their own batteries. They're working on bots. Like it's incredible how far ahead Elon is thinking. It's just so amazing to watch.
Well, I have to. It is very exciting. I have to credit Omar for the good job he does at helping people understand why FSD is the future, and why it's the
Yeah.
solution. But also the other reason why I'm interested in Elon and the work that he does when Tesla, because Tesla is, you're right, it's not a car company, it is a software company, it is an AI company, because Tesla, they're going to be the Tesla bots, they're going to be so the Tesla AI is going to be deployed in multiple devices and platforms and so on and so forth. But personally, in the world that I live in, and the world of Puppy Up, the Puppy Up Foundation, what we would like to do, Earl, is we want to be able to start incorporating AI to help us accelerate understanding cancer in our canine companions. And
Mm-hmm.
so we kind of have an interest in talking to Elon, some of his AI people, potentially about working with us on a particular project, because I'm a firm believer in AI, and what the work that they're doing is revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would hopefully, pie in the sky, like to be able to help use that to solve problems in the
Yeah.
greatest pandemic that our canines have ever encountered in our lifetime, and that's cancer. I'm not sure if you know the statistics, Earl, but they
No.
are freaking staggering.
Um,
It's now that one out of 50% to 60% of certain breeds, uh, the dogs will get cancer. Me personally, I've had 3 dogs die, all Great Pyrenees. All 3 died from cancer. So I'm 100%. So golden retrievers, they're dying left and right. So cancer is a pandemic like we've never seen in this world.
yeah.
So now is the time for dog organizations and dog groups of all ilk, of all kind, to get together and work together on this one single thing, the scourge of cancer and our companions.
Yeah.
And
What a
so
great
I
vision.
thank you. So I hope that this is the start of working with Frunk Puppy and you
Yeah.
guys and some other organizations, because it is a problem that is beyond my ability, and it's also a problem beyond the ability of the veterinary oncology community. I'm very close with the veterinary oncology community. We're about to go to ACBI, and we go to the Veterinary Cancer Society community. The veterinary, they're about less than 500 veterinary oncologists, and we're not even a rounding error when it comes to big pharma, the clinical trials that we do. But companion cancer and translational cancer, the basically the model of one cancer, that there's one cancer in multiple species, is the future, and AI could be a wonderful tool to augment that. So on that note, because I'm an advocate of the community, I hope we can all work to that end.
Yeah.
So I think we've reached the part of the podcast, Ginger, while I ask you, what the heck did I screw up? And then we can ask Earl what his final words are. So Ginger, did I leave anything out this time?
The only thing that we left out so far is my cancer tip.
Yes,
So
ma'am. You got
for
one
your
for us this
dogs.
time.
So what a lot of veterinarians and even human doctors are going to tell you, that you need to manage your weight to manage a lot of different diseases, but that also has to do with cancer. So feeding your dogs a little bit of food, off the table, and giving them an extra cup of kibble a day or every once in a while, and their weight goes up, you're going to need to exercise that off of them, and you're going to need to cut back on their food to help keep them from getting cancer.
Absolutely.
That's my tip.
That's a wonderful tip. That's a tip for all of us, as a matter of fact. So Earl, tell us where people can find you and find Frunk Puppy and
Yeah.
anybody else you recommend.
Yeah. So frunkpuppy.com is my website. You can check that out. And then probably the best way to find me is on Twitter at 28 delays later. And I do also have an Instagram account, which is just under Frunk Puppy.
And make sure you super follow Earl, and Earl is
Yeah,
going to give
please.
10% to Puppy Up Foundation. No, I'm kidding with that part of it. I'm joking. Well, that's wonderful. Please everyone, get on Twitter. There's some exciting things going on. Frunk Puppy is doing wonderful things. At Doge, it's a great community. And I want everybody to be excited about using new tools for the betterment of our Fuzzybutts. So on that note, Earl, you are truly a friend of the Fuzzybutts. You are welcome back here anytime. So thank you for what you do for the Fuzzybutts.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been wonderful being on here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much, and be careful. You're not going to be at the top of the food chain.
That's right. Please protect Wilson and Norman.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for this episode of Fuzzybutts and Friends. Puppy up. Talk soon.
Yep.